Fine. So, firstly, I'll give you the overview of the course, what you will be getting in the course, what all you are eligible for, and what you can expect out of this course, what will we be learning, and uh, what the future support and all everything. I'll tell you everything, right? This is my website, qtpselenium.com. I've not put the information about QTP as of now. It is coming in a month, right? But for Selenium, I have all the details. So right, Selenium is very vast. Okay, it is very vast. It's got Selenium RC, WebDriver, IDE, Grid. Okay, so first I'll give you a brief overview about this tool, how this tool has evolved over a period of time. Then I'll tell you what we will do in the course, and we can have a small question and answer session as well. All right. So initially, around 6 years back, when I saw Selenium, it's a very old tool. Okay, it's not new. It was there in 2006 and 5 as well, but nobody used to use it at that time. Okay, when I saw it at that time, there were three components in it. One was known as RC, then IDE, and Grid. This was Selenium 1. Okay, now who made Selenium? A company called ThoughtWorks made Selenium, and it's a free tool. They don't have any intention to sell it or to sell the license and all. It's freely available. IDE was something which could test your applications on Mozilla. This was for Mozilla. Okay, RC could test your applications in multiple browsers like Mozilla, IE, Firefox, Safari, Opera. So these are the browsers which RC was supporting. Okay, IDE is a very simple tool, just a record and run. Only drawback is it works on Mozilla. Okay, and Grid, what Grid does, it helps you to distribute and run your test cases in multiple machines. So you make up a hub in the center and you distribute your test cases among multiple machines and you run them. This is done by Grid. Okay, Selenium RC as a tool, you had to learn any one of the languages like Java or C Sharp, or you had to learn Ruby, Python, Perl, PHP, right? So these were some of the one of the languages you had to learn to work on Selenium RC. Okay, it was not like that. If your website is made in .NET, you need to use Selenium RC with C Sharp. It's not like that. If your website is made in any language, you can use Selenium RC with any of these languages, and you can test your application. Okay. So what happened was the Java extension of Selenium RC became very famous because Java is an open source tool, okay, and it is platform independent. That is, you write the code on Windows, you can run it on the Unix-based server or whatever it is, right? So 70% of the market started using Java extension. 70% of the people started using Selenium RC with Java. 1 minute. Okay. Now, as time passed, okay, people started noticing that there are various drawbacks with Selenium RC. Okay. There were major drawbacks with RC, right? Especially in the latest websites, Selenium RC used to give a lot of issues. And suppose I want to print the names of all the links present on a web page using Selenium RC. There is no command for that. We have to use JavaScript. Okay, there is no command. So what happened was, people from Google, they came up, and latest, like around 1 year back, they made something known as WebDriver, which is far better than Selenium RC. Okay, But the thing is, in order to learn WebDriver, it is not necessary that you should be knowing Selenium RC. Both of them are completely different APIs. You can say both of them are completely different tools as well. The architecture of RC and architecture of WebDriver is completely different. Only thing is the architectures that are based on object-oriented principle concept, the concepts of object-oriented principle. Okay, so RC and WebDriver, these are the two. Selenium, the WebDriver is the latest version for Selenium, and RC is the older version. It is also known as Selenium 2.0, and this also works in multiple browsers and multiple operating systems. Okay, Opera is not supported as of now in WebDriver. All right, IDE remains like that, and what happened to the grid was that another new thing came up in the market now, that is known as Grid 2. Grid 1 supports RC, Grid 2 supports WebDriver. Okay. Now, if you have your code made in RC and if you want to run the same code in WebDriver, well, it is possible to do that. You have got features in WebDriver through which you can run the older version as well. Okay. Now, in the market, some companies started implementing Selenium in 2008, 7 or 10. Their systems have been implemented in Selenium RC. And the new ones which are being implemented are in WebDriver. So the question arises, if you go for an interview, should you be knowing RC or should you be knowing WebDriver? The answer is, you should be knowing both of them. Because if a company is already using Selenium, then most probably they would be using Selenium RC, and they would ask you questions on Selenium RC. But if there is a new development going on, new development coming up, then they'll ask questions on WebDriver. Okay, so this is about, this is about just Selenium. Okay, how Selenium works, what all features are there in Selenium. Okay, similarly, I have divided the course into various parts. Okay, first part is Java WebDriver. Okay, then we have why Java WebDriver, because the first thing which we need to learn is the Java language, whether it is WebDriver, whether it is RC. Okay, just a minute. Okay, whether it is Java, whether it is WebDriver, okay, or it is Selenium RC, you need to learn, you need to have the basics of Java language very clear. If you think that you can do without Java language, then it's not possible. And some people, they come to me and tell me that fine, I have got some partial knowledge of Java, I know some little bit of Java. Little bit of Java will not help you. Okay, you have to be proficient in it. Because when we write Selenium code, we will be writing the code inside this Eclipse IDE for Java. Okay, so that's how we will go. Now in this course, what I have done is I have divided the whole course into 35 modules. Okay, there are 35 modules in the course which cover all these topics: Java WebDriver, Selenium RC, how to do flash testing with Selenium, SVN and Maven, database testing, Grid 2 and everything. But in the course for around 20 to 25 hours, it is not possible for me to cover so many topics in detail. Right, so I have made videos on all the 35 modules. The videos, they are over 70 hours in duration. Right, along with the training course, you will get access to the videos as well. Fine. In the training, I'll just cover the Java WebDriver part. I will teach you Java, I'll teach you WebDriver, I'll teach you how to build frameworks with WebDriver in the end. Right, you will be studying how to build a data-driven framework, how to build a hybrid framework. Fine. And in case you just want the videos, you don't want to go for the training, you can also go for that. You have a different plan and different price for that. Alright. So let's start with the course. Before I start, I just want to ask you, is anybody having any question regarding the course in his mind? you can move your mouse to the top of the window, click on the participants tab. There will be a participants tab coming up when you move your mouse to the top of the window, and unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself and you can speak up if you have any questions. Otherwise, please be on mute. It will help us in actually reducing the noise during the session. Okay, why am I considerate about reducing the noise? Because I am recording the session. Fine. After recording the session, I will give you the recorded session for today. Okay, along with you will be getting two kinds of recorded sessions in this course. Okay, there will be two kinds of recorded sessions. One are the pre-recorded sessions for the which I have already recorded. Okay, you will have a lifetime access for those pre-recorded access videos. Okay, one set of videos will be the videos which we make during the training class. Okay, you will have access for around 3 months for those videos. Okay, these videos which we record every day in the training class will be gone after 3 months, but the other set of videos which are there on the site, you have access forever to those videos. Okay, so that's how we will go with the course. And if you have any questions, if anybody, or you can also ask me a question on Skype. You can ping me if you have any questions. I'll definitely answer. Or you can ask on WebEx. There's a chat facility available on WebEx as well. Okay, so fine. All right. So now let's start. Okay. The first thing which we need to learn is the Java language. I hope everybody has installed Java, and I'm assuming that people have a fair idea of what programming is, whether they have done it in C language or some other language. If anybody has not done programming at all, okay, so please let me know. Fine. So I'm just assuming that everybody has a fair idea of what programming is. Let's start with Java language. The first thing is you need to install Java, and everybody might have installed it as well. After installing Java, you need to get the Eclipse IDE. Eclipse IDE is something in which helps you to write Selenium code. Okay, so you can get it from here. Go to Google and just type download Eclipse. Okay, I'm not going to start with Selenium directly on the day one. I'll first make the concepts of Java clear. Okay, why am I doing this is because many times people they come and they tell me, fine, there is no documentation available for Selenium on the internet. Okay, many times people have this complaint, there is no documentation available. Well, documentation is available, only thing is the documentation is based on the concepts of object-oriented programming. If you go to Google and just type download Selenium, okay, go to the Selenium website, and out here for the Java client driver of Selenium, okay, this is the Java doc. Java doc means the Java documentation. If you open this documentation, this is the Java documentation. It is very nicely documented over here. Only thing is people don't know how to read it because it is little bit technical in nature, and it involves the concepts of object-oriented programming. Okay, so we'll be studying all of these things, right? And another thing is that what Selenium can do as a tool. Selenium is an automation testing tool, right? It will only work on browsers. It's not for desktop-based applications. If I have to check how my website is opening in, say, Mozilla browser or IE browser or Chrome browser, I can test it. But if I just want to test a Windows-based calculator, I cannot test it using Selenium. Using QTP, you can test Windows-based applications as well, but using Selenium, you can only test web-based applications. Okay, so right now, as far as this thing, what do you say? The latest version of Selenium is concerned, it is 2.21. right now. It is the Java WebDriver. Okay, so Selenium will only automate your browsers. If you go to the home page of this website, then the first line is Selenium automates browsers. It's only for browser-based automation. Even you might have somebody might have learned about the Android driver and the iPhone drivers which have come up in the latest version of Selenium. These drivers, they are not to test your applications on Android and iPhone. You cannot test a game on Android and iPhone using Selenium. But you can surely test how your website is opening in an Android-based phone or an iPhone-based phone when you're working with Selenium. Okay, so we'll be moving with this, and we will be first studying the concepts of object-oriented programming. Then maybe on the third day, most probably on the third day, I will, or maybe by tomorrow, I will just come over to the Selenium API. Fine. So let's start with the Java language. As I told you, you need to download Eclipse. You need to go to this page, eclipse.org/downloads, and download this version, Eclipse IDE for Java EE developers, depending on your Windows, whether it's 32-bit or 64-bit. Okay, you download it and you will get it out here like this. You get Eclipse folder, you extract it, and you have this. This is eclipse.exe. Eclipse then never comes as an installable. You just have to double click on it and it will open. And I just open up one Eclipse instance right now. So okay, this is the Eclipse, and this is the workspace launcher. That means the path where you will be storing all the Java code, right? So I'll make a new workspace called first main. So that whatever code we make in this whole classroom session is stored in this. Fine. So click on OK, and I've created a new workspace, and right. So this is the new workspace. This is the welcome page, and close this. Right, so this is Eclipse. Out here on the left hand panel you will have the projects. Out here you will do the coding, and at the bottom part you will get the results or the output. Okay, so this is how Eclipse is downloaded. You don't need to install it. It is simply a normal IDE. It will open up. In case you have a 64-bit machine, okay, please listen to this carefully. In case you have a 64-bit machine, then you will have to download JDK as well. Okay, you go to this link, download JDK, Java ST downloads. You go here and download and install JDK as well. You will find JDK out here. Okay, sometimes Eclipse never starts because the JDK is not there. Fine. So now, once you have installed Eclipse, you need to create your first Eclipse project, right? How do you do that? You right click on this white space and go to New Project, okay? And give the option Expand Java, and you will get the Java project option here, okay? Click on Next, and I'll create the Java project as day 1. Fine, and finish. So you have this Java project day 1. Inside it there is a source folder and JRE system library. This JRE system library is nothing but Java which is installed on your system. Okay. If you right click on the project and go to the properties of the project, you will have this under the resources tab. You will have the location where your project is lying. Okay. You can copy the location and you can move to that location. Right? At this location, this is the day 1 project. Right? Under it, I am seeing various things like a folder with .settings, bin, source, class, path, project. Okay. Out of which only the source folder is visible inside Eclipse. Okay. Inside Eclipse, only source folder is visible. right? So just a minute, guys. Okay, only the source folder is visible inside Eclipse, right? Now, um in whatever Java coding we will do, we will write all the Java files inside the source folder. Okay, and I will, in order to create a Java file, right click on the source folder, go to new class, okay, and give a class name. That is, I'll write as first Java class, right? And I'll just check mark this public static void main finish, right? And this is the first Java class. The font might be very small for you. I'll just increase the font. Hold on. Alright, so I think it will be visible to you. Fine. So I created this first Java class, and you'll see that it said the first line says public class first Java class. Okay, and there's a starting bracket which ends up in the end over here. In Java, always remember the name of the class is first Java class dot Java. The name of the class should be same as the name which we defined in the file. If I put some extra words in front of it, then I will get an error from Eclipse immediately. Okay, this is the advantage of Eclipse, that is, it is a very smart editor. It will automatically give you an error that fine, you are doing something wrong on this line, right? And if you move your mouse over this error, then you will actually see there are two options: rename the compilation unit to this or rename the type to. These are the two options which Eclipse is giving me to fix this error. Fine. This is a very important thing, because in Selenium as well, if you do any mistake, then Eclipse tells you that we have done a mistake, and if you move your mouse over that mistake, then you will definitely get some suggestions. That is, either rename this for class or rename this file. Okay, so I will rename the class. Even if I forget to give a bracket in the end, this is the closing bracket. Even if I forget to close this, then immediately I'll get an error. If I move my mouse over there, it will tell me the suggestion: insert a closing bracket to complete the class body. Right? So this is very, very important, and this helps you to write programs in a faster way, because you come to know where the error is coming. Okay? So now this is the main function. Right? What public is, what static is, what void is. Right? I'll talk about these in the coming days. In coming days, everything will be clear. So just accept some things as they are as of now. Okay. So this is the main function, and in every programming language there is a main function present. You must have seen in the C programming language as well. The main function is the function in which the control comes in for the very first time. Right. So inside the main function, if I have to write if I write system.out.println learning Selenium. Okay, the command to print anything in Java is system.out.println. Okay, it is case sensitive. If I keep the S for system as small, it will throw an error immediately. It's a case sensitive language, please mind it, right? And when I run this program, how do I run this program? You run it through this green button. You click on this green button on the top and you will be able to run the program, right? You click on this green button and you will get an output at the bottom, learning Selenium. Okay, or you can also run the program like this: right click on the Java file, run as Java application. Okay, run as Java application and you will get the same program output, right? So system.out.println is the shortcut, or is the way to print something on the console. Okay, the shortcut is SYSO. You type SYSO and then hit Control Spacebar. After typing SYSO and hitting Control Spacebar, you will automatically get system.out.println. Okay, So it is something like this: SYSO plus control spacebar. Alright, so now before I proceed further, okay, I'll tell you what Selenium code looks like. Okay, Selenium code is also run inside Eclipse, right? For example, I have got this program opened in front of me, right? And this is a Java program which is actually written in using the Selenium libraries. Okay, when I execute this particular program, I click on this run button. Don't look at what the code is doing. Okay, don't look at that. You'll come to know in the coming classes. But I want to give you a brief idea. When I run this program, a Firefox window opens up. It goes to gmail.com and it enters something in the username and the password. Okay. This is basically automation testing. That is, you automate everything. You automate writing the username, you automate writing the password and all everything, right? And so what we do in Selenium is that we make Java programs like these. These Java programs will be our test cases, right? They will open up the browser, they will go to any website, they'll type the username, password and all everything, right? So for doing that, first we need to have a good hand at Java, right? Some people in this course, they might be familiar with Java and they might be, this stuff would look very simple to them, okay? And some people, they might not be having Selenium background, right? So for both the types of guys, I just have one suggestion for you. Please be with me. By the end of the 5th day, you will realize that we have done a lot of stuff. Okay, so this is learning Selenium. It's being printed over here. Okay, now every programming language has data types. I'll give a brief overview of those data types. Like int is there, string is there in the programming languages. In Java, there is something known as long, double, float. Okay, so I'll just talk about these data types. Right? You must be knowing about them, but I'll just talk about few differences and then where each one of them is used. Okay, suppose if I write int a equals to 100, then what happens is that in the memory there's a variable a which is formed which stores the value 100 inside it. Okay. Similarly, I can write long b equals to 200l. When you define long, you have to write l inside it. Okay. Both integers and long, they can only store integers. Both int and long, they are only used to store integers. Fine. Now, why integers? Well, it's simply because, why integers only? Why not decimal numbers? You cannot store decimal numbers in it. I cannot write a equals to 49.55 in the next line. I'll get an error. I can just store non-decimal numbers in both of them, right? Then what's the usage and what's the difference between int and long? The difference is in the size. Okay, int is around 32 bits and long is around 64 bits. What do you mean by bits over here? It is that when the number is stored in the memory, it is stored in the form of 0110 format, right? So there are 32 bits allocated to int and there are 64 bits allocated to long, right? Sometimes when you are testing an application, suppose you are booking an online flight for yourself, right? In the end, you get the order confirmation number, which is a numeric number, and that is a big number and it cannot be put inside an int. At that point of time, you can use a long and put the number in long data type. Fine. If you have to store decimals, then it is something known as double is present. You can write double b equals to 484.43. Okay, so this can store the decimal values inside it. Double can store decimals. Int and long can store integers. Right? So another thing is known as string. So this is a string. Whatever we give in double quotes is known as a string, right? String is not a data type. See, the color is not reddish or maroon in color, right? It's a different class in Java language. We'll talk about it, but for time being, just understand. Yeah. For time being, just understand that string can be used to used for normal English wordings. You have to give it in double quotes. It's mandatory, right? And there is something known as Boolean. Okay, this thing is also very important. Boolean represents a condition. Suppose if I write Boolean y equals to true. Boolean can hold either true or false value inside it. Okay, a Boolean variable holds either true or false value inside it. Fine. And why is it used? Okay, if I write system.out.println 44 is greater than 22. Okay, I have written a condition over here, system.out.println 44 greater than 22, and when I run this code, it actually prints true. It never prints 44 or it never prints 22 as standalone. It will print the result. That is, it is the truth that 44 is greater than 22 and 44 less than 22. If I run this, then this is going to print false. Okay, so the Boolean type variables, they represent conditions. I can also write something like this: y equals to 6 greater than 4. So this will represent true. Y will be true out here. The Boolean condition is used in everything, in loops, in statements, in for loops, in regular programming, to detect if the element is present on the page and all. So there are some inbuilt functions in the Selenium API as well, which return you a Boolean data type. Okay, so Boolean is quite important and it is used a lot, right? For example, you can use Boolean in if statements. If I write if true, system.out.println pass. So when I run this program, this will just print pass, because the condition inside the if statement is returning you true. I am assuming that everybody has a fair idea of what an if statement is, right? Now I can write over here int say q equals to 100 and int w equals to 200, and I can give a condition. If q is greater than w, then print pass, or print q is greater. Okay, when you run this program, this never prints q is greater because q is less than w. So you can use an else statement over here like this: else system.out.println w is greater. Okay, so when you run this program now, this prints w is greater, right? So you have to be a little bit cautious as well while using if statements. Many times people forget this curly braces and all, and they fall into error. So you have to be very careful about the curly brackets and all, everything. Okay. Now, if along with if I have to print q is greater and I want to print the value of q as well, so you have to use the concatenation operator in Java. You can write q is greater plus the value of q, and w is greater plus the value of w. So this will print q is greater 100, w is greater 200, something like this. So when you run this program, it prints w is greater and it prints the value of w as well, right? So with the concatenation operator, you can concatenate the value. Don't give the value in double quotes, or what will happen, w will be printed as it is. Alright, so I see many people doing this mistake. Right? Please give double quote. Please do not give double quotes over here, and you print w as it is, and you print the value which is present inside the w this way. Right? Now, Now about the concatenation operator in detail, a little bit in detail about this concatenation operator. Okay. If I write system.out.println, you will listen to this carefully because many people they make a mistake over here in Selenium. Okay. If I write 45 plus 65 and I run this program, this will print the sum, that is 110. Okay, this will print the sum 110. If I write system.out.println, sum is plus 45 plus 65. I write it like this and run the code. This prints sum is 4565, not 110. Why? It concatenates 45 and 65, but out here it did not. This is because the execution, always remember the execution starts from the left side. First, this part is concatenated with 45, and then the whole thing is concatenated with 65. Alright, if I had written something like this, 45 plus 65 is the sum. Now this will print 110 is the sum because the condition will start to evaluate from the left side. Okay, when you run this, this will print 110 is the sum. Right? Okay, so if anybody has got any question, he or she can unmute himself by moving the mouse on the top of the window, click on the participants tab, and then click on the red icon in front of your name. That will unmute you. You can ask your questions, or you can also ping me on Skype. Whether you have question related to the current session or the coming sessions, whatever it is, right? Please feel free to ask. Fine. So hold on. I should go to the invisible so that if anybody pings me, I'll come to know. Okay. So now, right. So this is a little bit about concatenation operator. Now suppose I want to print the sum like this. The sum is 110. Then I can put a round bracket. Okay, I can put a round bracket over here around 45 and 65, and when you run this code now, this will print sum is 110. Okay, so because the bracket is evaluated in the very beginning, bracket has got the precedence, the bracket has got the upper hand, right? So this is a little bit about Java. This is a small Java program in which I told you most of the stuff which you would be knowing. I just gave you a refresher, what data types are, what Boolean value is, what an if statement is, what a concatenation operator is, because these are very small things. You will be requiring and you will be using these things at every stage, right? Now, if you talk about the language Java, why is it used with Selenium? Okay, I'll just go into a little bit of a technical thing, that is how Selenium was made. Okay, now Selenium is purely, the core engine of Selenium is purely JavaScript based. JavaScript language is not same as Java language, it's a scripting language. The core of QTP as a tool, it's made in VB scripting language. These scripting languages, they are very, very powerful languages. Okay, they have, you can do anything with these languages. For example, I think I have the code on my desktop. Just a minute, hold on. Yes, I have it. Right? For example, I have made this JavaScript file test.js. This is a JavaScript file. If I open it with TextPad, then you will see some code like this. This is some JavaScript code. Okay, don't try to understand this code as of now. Okay, but when I run this JS file, to execute the JS file, you just need to double click on it. When I double click on it, it takes me to this website. right? I'll just close all the Mozilla browsers again, and when I double click on this JS file, what happens is Mozilla opens up and it takes me to a specific website, right? So the core of Selenium, whosoever made Selenium, is actually made in JavaScript. There are JS files inside which get executed. They open the browser and all everything. Okay, but the drawback of this JavaScript is that if I tell you to write a JavaScript code, or if I try to write a JavaScript code myself, it is very difficult to debug it. Debug in the sense, it is very difficult to find where the error is coming if any error comes up. Because generally the JavaScript code is written in an editor like this, not in Eclipse. You can also write in Eclipse, but Eclipse will never show an error. For example, in Eclipse, while writing the Java code, remember Java and JavaScript are different, they are not same. Okay, if I write the Java code, then I may make a mistake, Eclipse immediately tells you the mistake. But in case of Java, you don't know the mistake. This is the in case of JavaScript. So this is the major disadvantage of JavaScript, that is, it is very difficult to debug. You don't come to know where the error is coming, right? So what these guys did, the guys which made Selenium, they made the core engine in JavaScript, okay, and then they developed an interface, okay, and they made the feature available, that is, using any of these programming languages like Java, C#, Perl, Ruby, Python, you can call the commands of this JavaScript engine through this interface. Okay, so that's why Selenium is available in many programming languages. In the end, it is JavaScript code which is getting executed. Okay, these are the JS files which get executed. Right? Otherwise, the code is made in JavaScript. Now it's an open source tool. If you want to modify the code, you can do that, but you need to be a very good programmer for that. If I want to introduce my own piece of coding in this code, you can do that. Right? Okay? It is something like you buy a car, right? Engine of the car is fine, it's there, it's been given by the company to you, but anybody can drive the car. Okay, it's like that anybody over here are different programming languages, right? And if you want, you can do some modifications in the car as well, which people do sometimes. You can get some alloy wheels, some cool fittings inside the car, right? So that thing is also possible with Selenium, right? But basically, the core of automation testing is always done in scripting languages, in QTP as well. Okay, if I don't want to use QTP as a tool to automate my websites, I can make a simple VB file, VB script file, VBS file, which will open a browser and do the testing. But what HP guys did, they made a good interface known as QTP. Okay, which had a very good user interface. It had got a lot of features, cool buttons and all everything, which make your work very easy. But behind the scenes, this is the VB script command which gets executed. Okay, and if I show you, I have this VBS file as well, I guess. No, this is not there. I made it few days back. Somebody was requesting me. Hold on. It's not there, I will not make it right now. Okay, but this JavaScript, I talk about this JavaScript. If I double click on it, it executes. Suppose if I make some mistake in this JS file, okay, I'll make some mistake in the JS file, and when I run this JS file now, I get an error like this. Now, understanding this kind of error and debugging it is very tough. Okay, that's why we have an interface like Java or something which can communicate with the JavaScript core of Selenium, and it can help you work with it. So that's why the Selenium is important, Java is important, and the object-oriented principles of Java are very important. Okay. Now, why does 70% of the industry uses Java? That's also one again a question, because many times people have a background in C# and they are forced to learn Java because everybody in the market is using Java with Selenium. Okay. The first and the major thing is that many times, at most of the times, you will require to run your scripts. Okay, if you automate suppose 5,000 test cases with Selenium, right? When you have to run those test cases, you run them on a Unix server or a Linux server. Right? Now, Unix or a Linux-based server will not support C# or something, right? It will support Java, and Java is a platform-independent language. You, as a tester, you can write the Java code in Eclipse in your local desktop machine, and when everything is ready, right? When you have automated 5,000 test cases on your local machine, you can simply put the Java files on the server and you can execute them, or the class files. Okay, now what is a class file in Java? If I go to this project, day 1, inside the source folder of this project, I will have my class called first Java class.java. Okay, every Java class when compiled is converted into a .class file which is lying in bin folder. In bin folder you will see first Java class.class. Okay, so in the source folder you will have all the Java files, and in the bin folder you will have the class files corresponding to the Java files. The class file is generated automatically when you run the program in Eclipse during the compile time. Okay, it is automatically generated. If I try to open this file, I will not be able to understand it. It's not a bytecode exactly. It is something different, right? So it is it's not as a machine understandable code. Now this class file is platform independent. I can take it to Unix based machine, Linux based machine, Windows or Solaris operating system, any operating system, and it will execute. So generally we make the code on our local systems, and while working in companies we deploy the code on the server, which is a Unix based server or a Linux based server. Okay, we deploy these class files over there. Okay, so this is just a very simple Java program which I made, right? I'll not start with the concept of object-oriented programming today. I'll start it tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll tell you about OOPS, object-oriented programming, and if possible I'll also tell you how to configure Selenium in Eclipse and make a simple Selenium program. Okay, but before that I expect something from you, all of you, because I don't want to waste the time as well as the free trial classes as well on unnecessary stuff, right? Necessary important stuff, but you can learn it on your own as well. Go to my website. Okay, go to my website, and before tomorrow's class, right? Hold on, just a minute. It's hanged. Yeah, so the first and the second video are free for everybody. You can watch them. Okay, I covered a little concepts in first video today. Okay, but before tomorrow's class, come ready with the first and the second video. Okay, please watch the first 2 training videos before coming over to the class tomorrow, because these are simple things like arrays, loops and all. Okay, just give them a refresher. Please watch them, and tomorrow I will start with the concept of object-oriented programming. Okay, this is important because the core of Selenium, okay, the Selenium is complete. Selenium with Java is completely object-oriented in nature, right? So start with the concepts of object-oriented programming. Just watch the first 2 videos and be here tomorrow. Same time we'll have the class. I know 10 minutes are remaining, some time is remaining, but I'll not start with the object-oriented programming as of now. Come with the background, watch first two videos, and if possible the third one as well. Okay. The class which I am taking right now has also been recorded. Okay. You will get the recorded video in your email. Okay. I'll email you the link to the recorded video. Right. Okay.